Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Treasure Seekers. Today's video is going to take you on a journey through history, art, and hidden value, all packed into one small but powerful piece of metal, the 2022 United States $quarter featuring the legendary Maya Angelou. This isn't just any quarter you find in your change. This coin made headlines for more than just its design. It's part of the American Women Quarters program, and the first in the series, honoring the life and legacy of Maya Angelou, the poet, memoirist, and civil rights activist whose words moved generations. But did you know, some of these quarters are selling for serious money? Stick around, because you might just have one sitting in your pocket right now that's worth far more than 25 cents. So, what makes this coin so special? Let's start with the design. On one side, you'll see George Washington, but here's the twist: it's a brand new portrait that shows him facing right instead of left, a subtle but meaningful departure from the classic look. And on the other side? That's where the magic really happens. Maya Angelou is depicted with her arms uplifted, symbolizing freedom and creativity. Behind her is a bird in flight and rays of sunshine, capturing the essence of her famous autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. The design radiates grace, strength, and the spirit of a woman who refused to be silenced. For collectors, this coin isn't just currency. It's a piece of cultural history. Now, let's talk about what makes this quarter valuable, because yes, while most are worth face value, some rare varieties and errors are making collectors sit up and pay attention. Here's what to look for. First, the mint mark. These quarters were struck at the Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, mints. While most from Philly and Denver are common in circulation, the San Francisco proof versions, especially in silver or special finishes, are much rarer and were never released for general use. If you've got an S mint mark, you're already in more exclusive territory, but wait, there's more. Several errors have been reported in early 2022 Maya Angelou quarters that are now turning ordinary coins into collector gold. Some of the most sought-after errors include die cracks and die chips around the hands or wings of the bird, double die obverse, DDO, where parts of George Washington's face or lettering appear slightly doubled off center, strikes or coins with weak or missing details due to misalignment during minting, and the ultra-rare struck on the wrong planchet error, where the quarter is accidentally minted on a dime or foreign coin blank. These error coins are what truly send collectors on the hunt. If you find one in your change, you could be looking at a coin worth dozens, or even hundreds, of dollars, depending on the type and clarity of the error. And let's not forget the condition. Coins in mint state, especially MS67 and above, are far more valuable than those with wear and tear. If you have a flawless Maya Angelou quarter, no scratches, shiny surfaces, strong details, it could be a real gem. Many collectors pay a premium for coins graded by PCGS or NGC, especially if they're in high grade and come from a known error batch or special mint set.by. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, how much are these really selling for? Well, here it is. In the current collector's market, a regular circulation 2022 Maya Angelou quarter is typically worth around 25 cents to $2 if it's in great shape. But listen closely, error coins and graded proof versions have sold at auction for anywhere between $50 and over $500. And an exceptionally rare error or high-grade silver proof can fetch as much as $1,000 or more, depending on demand and rarity. So next time you get change at the store, take a moment to check those quarters. Look closely, because that shiny little coin might just carry the spirit of a legend, and be worth a whole lot more than you think. If you enjoyed learning about this beautiful and potentially valuable coin, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more rare coin insights, and hit the bell so you never miss a new find. And hey, if you've got a Maya Angelou quarter with an error, tell us in the comments. You might just be holding a hidden treasure. Top 2, we're diving into a coin that millions of people have held in their hands, but very few have looked at twice. We're talking about the 1994 United States $quarter. While it might seem like just another coin in your pocket, there are versions of this quarter that collectors are paying serious money for. the 1994 quarter features the classic Washington design on the front and a bold eagle on the reverse, the same style used before the state quarters program began in 1999. It was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most people think it's just 25 cents, but trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. The real excitement begins when you discover the rare errors and high-grade versions of this coin. These are what collectors go wild for. Let's start with the minting errors. One of the most valuable types of error is the off-center strike. That's when the coin is misaligned during minting, causing part of the design to be missing. Another is the double die error, where letters or parts of George Washington's face look slightly doubled. These coins are rare and extremely desirable. Then there's the clipped planchet error, a factory mistake where part of the coin's edge is cut off before the design is even stamped. And don't forget the broad strike error, which gives the coin a stretched or rimless look. Each of these errors makes a standard quarter much more valuable, especially if it's in excellent condition. Even without an error, condition matters a lot. Coins in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, known as mint state, can fetch a much higher price than those that have been through decades of wear and tear. A shiny, sharp-looking 1994 quarter graded MS 65 or higher is already more than just pocket change. Now, let's talk about the San Francisco Mint. Quarters from this mint have an S mark and were only made for proof sets, meaning they were never meant to circulate. These coins are struck with extra care, resulting in sharper details and a mirror-like finish. While common proof coins don't always have high value, their condition and packaging often attract collectors. So how do you know if your 1994 quarter is valuable? First, check the mint mark, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Then, look for any obvious errors or design issues. If you think your coin might be rare, it's worth having it checked by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much are these coins actually worth? A regular 1994 quarter in circulated condition is worth its face value, 25 cents. However, an uncirculated 1994 quarter in mint state can sell for $5 to $20. And those rare error coins? Depending on the type and condition, they've sold for anywhere between $100 and $800 at auctions. So next time you're digging through your change or going through an old coin jar, keep an eye out for the 1994 quarter. What looks like ordinary pocket change could be your next valuable find. Top 3, we're unlocking the secrets of a coin that's been quietly hiding in plain sight: the 1981 United States quarter dollar. If you've ever thought an ordinary-looking coin couldn't be worth more than its face value, think again. Because some versions of this 1981 quarter are selling for big bucks, and the reasons why will surprise you. So grab your change jar, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and what could make your old quarter worth way more than 25 cents. The 1981 quarter features the familiar and classic design, the powerful profile of George Washington on the front, and the bold heraldic eagle on the reverse, wings spread wide in pride. This design was used for decades before the state quarters began in 1999, making coins like the 1981 quarter part of the final era of the original Washington series, and that gives it a nostalgic appeal for many collectors. But beyond its history, what really excites collectors is rarity, and more importantly, unexpected errors. Millions of these quarters were minted at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and a smaller number at the San Francisco mint for proof sets. Most of them are common, but here's where things get interesting. Some of these coins left the mint with mistakes that turned them from ordinary to extraordinary. One of the most desirable is the double die error, where parts of the coin, usually the text or Washington's face, are struck more than once in slightly different positions. This creates a doubling effect, especially noticeable on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." A sharp-eyed collector spotting one of these can be looking at serious value. Another rare error to look for is the off-center strike, when the coin isn't perfectly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable it becomes. There are also broad strike errors, where the coin was struck without the collar that shapes the rim. These coins often look stretched, flat, or oddly shaped around the edges. And then there's the incredibly rare wrong planchet error. This happens when a quarter design is mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another coin, like a penny or a foreign denomination. These mix-ups are extremely scarce, but when they're found, they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Of course, beyond errors, the condition of the coin matters just as much. A 1981 quarter that's been through years of pockets and cash registers is likely only worth its face value. But if you have one in mint state condition, with no scratches, wear, or discoloration, it could be significantly more valuable, especially if it's been graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, and don't forget about the proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. These coins were never meant for circulation, they were specially made for collectors, with mirrored finishes and crisp details. While they're more common than errors, high-grade proof coins from 1981 can still attract strong interest, especially when kept in pristine condition. So how much is your 1981 quarter really worth? If it's a standard circulated coin from Philadelphia or Denver, it's typically worth about 25 cents to $1. But if it's in uncirculated mint state, the value can climb to $10 to $25, depending on grade. A proof version in excellent condition can fetch $15 to $40. And for those rare error coins, especially double dies, off-center strikes, or wrong planchet types, you're looking at auction prices between $100 and over $500, with some extreme examples reaching even higher. That's a big return for a little coin that might be hiding at the bottom of your piggy bank. Top 4, we're taking a close look at a coin that might be sitting quietly in your pocket or hiding at the bottom of your coin jar, the 1985 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter, but what if I told you that some versions of this coin are turning up at auctions for hundreds of dollars? So don't blink, because you might be holding onto a coin that's far more valuable than you think. Let's start with the basics. The 1985 quarter features the familiar face of George Washington on the front, just like every U.S. quarter since 1932. On the reverse side, you've got the iconic heraldic eagle, wings spread, clutching arrows, and an olive branch, a symbol of strength and peace. It's a design that speaks of history, tradition, and the power of American coinage, but what makes the 1985 quarter really interesting isn't just the design, it's the hidden rarities and minting mistakes that have made certain coins from this year incredibly collectible. First, it's important to know that quarters from 1985 were produced at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. You'll see a little P or D on the front of the coin, just beside Washington's ponytail. There were no proof coins made in San Francisco this year, which already makes the 1985 quarter a bit more unique in the modern series. Now, here's where it gets exciting. Some of these 1985 quarters were struck with minting errors that turned them into prized collector's items. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die. That's when the coin is stamped twice slightly out of alignment, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. On a 1985 quarter, doubling is often seen on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." This kind of mistake doesn't happen often, and when it does, collectors are ready to pay for it. Another valuable variety is the off-center strike. That's when the coin was not lined up properly during minting, causing part of the design to be missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date is still visible, the more collectible it becomes. Some 1985 quarters also show broad strike errors, which happen when the collar that shapes the coin's edge is missing or damaged. This causes the coin to appear flatter or larger than normal, with a strange-looking rim, and let's not forget the rarest of the rare, the wrong planchet error. That's when a quarter is accidentally struck on a coin blank meant for another denomination, like a nickel or even a foreign coin. These errors are extremely rare, but when they're authenticated, they can sell for serious money. Of course, error coins aren't the only ones worth collecting. Even a normal 1985 quarter can carry value, if it's in the right condition. Coins that have never been used, never touched by bare hands, and have no scratches or wear are considered mint state. These are often graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 65 or higher is considered premium and can be worth far more than face value, especially if it's been certified by PCGS or NGC. The truth is, millions of 1985 quarters were produced, but very few survived in perfect, uncirculated condition. And even fewer contain the rare errors that drive up demand among collectors. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for. What are these coins really worth? A regular 1985 quarter that's been circulated is generally worth 25 cents to $1, depending on where. But if you have one in uncirculated mint state condition, it could be worth $10 to $30. A certified, high-grade MS-67 example could sell for $40 to $60 or more. But here's the real jackpot. Error coins. A 1985 quarter with a clear double die or off-center strike has sold at auction for over $100, while wrong planchet errors have reached prices as high as $400 to $600. Depending on rarity and condition. So don't overlook that old quarter sitting in your change. It could be hiding a rare error or be in better condition than you realize. Top 5, and last unique coin. We're going deep into one of the most talked about coins in American pocket change, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another old coin. But what if I told you this little quarter holds a secret, one that could make it worth thousands? Let's explore the mystery and value behind the 1965 quarter, and by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for. The year 1965 marked a major turning point in U.S. coinage. Before this year, quarters were made of 90% silver. But rising silver prices and widespread hoarding caused the U.S. Mint to make a bold change. Starting in 1965, quarters were struck with a copper-nickel clad composition. No more silver for everyday coins. Millions of these new clad quarters were made that year. But with the rush to transition, the Mint made a few mistakes, and that's where things get interesting. Some 1965 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from 1964. These rare coins look almost identical to regular ones, but they weigh more and ring differently when dropped. Finding one of these silver planchet errors is like hitting the coin collector's jackpot, but that's not the only error to look for. There are also off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't properly aligned. Some 1,965 quarters show signs of double die errors, where the letters or numbers appear slightly doubled, especially in Liberty or In God We Trust. Then there are broad strike errors, where the rim is missing and the coin looks flatter or wider than usual. Some quarters were even struck on wrong planchets meant for foreign coins or nickels. Incredibly rare and highly valuable. Condition also matters. A coin in mint state, meaning it shows no wear and has full luster, can bring much more value than a circulated one. Most 1965 quarters have been through decades of pockets, drawers, and vending machines, so finding one in pristine shape is a true challenge. So, how do you tell if your 1965 quarter is valuable? First, check the weight. A regular clad quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If your 1965 quarter weighs around 6.25 grams, it might be one of the rare silver ones. It's best to have it professionally graded to be sure. Now, the part you've been waiting for, the value. A normal circulated 1965 quarter is usually worth 25 cents to $1. A mint state example with no errors can fetch $10 to $40, depending on grade. But if you've got a confirmed silver error quarter from 1965, it could be worth $3,000 to $7,000 or more at auction. Even rare error types like off-center strikes or double dies can sell for $100 to $500, especially when certified. So don't overlook that old quarter in your drawer. It might be more than just pocket change, it could be real treasure.